fishy folks, and welcome back to Michael's Fishing. Today, step by step, how to make a guppy pond. Grab yourself a healthy snack and beverage and stand by. Alright fishy folks, welcome back to the channel. So I started my first guppy pond. It's the Mutt Guppy project, and essentially I asked for you guys to send me at least 5 adult mutt guppies, and I would add them all to one pond, and at the end of the season we'll see what we get as far as genetics go. Now for sending guppies to me, I would give you a $25 gift certificate to my website, michaelsfishing.com, and many of you took advantage of that. Some of you haven't yet, and that's okay. I probably got in about, I don't know, 60 or 70 guppies, mostly adults, some sub-adults, but I'm really excited to see what happens in that guppy pond. There's a ton of fry already, so we'll see that at the end of the season. I'm fine. Now, let's talk about setting up a guppy pond. A couple things you want to do, you want to think about before you even start, and that is, what is the stocking and purpose? Are you breeding for profit, or you just want it to look nice? Because that's gonna, what you decide is gonna change how you set things up a little bit. Are you gonna filter it? Are you just gonna have an air stone, or are you gonna use a sponge filter, or are you gonna use some other kind of filtration? Where do you want the pond? Do you want to see the pond while you're sitting outside, you know, eating your smoked brisket, or you know, while you're sitting on your porch talking with your neighbors or people watching, do you want to hear the water? You know what I'm saying? You got to figure out the location. And then a couple other things, you want to figure out what you're going to put the water in. What is your pond going to be? Is it going to be a Rubbermaid stock tank, and then you're going to have to make it look pretty, or don't care how it looks? Is it going to be a tote from Home Depot or Lowe's or somewhere where you don't care what it looks like? You're just out, you know, you just have it for profit, breeding for profit. You know, are you going to have one of those fancy pre-formed ponds so it looks more natural? Like, those are all things you need to decide. And finally, you're going to need to decide, you know, are you going to put a lid on it or not, right? So if you're breeding for profit, you're going to want to keep the aliens out. Those are the dragonflies, dragonfly nymphs specifically, because they are brutal. So you're going to want to put a net or something on top of your pond to keep them out, but let the good bugs and sunlight go in. So, all right, folks. The first thing, like I said, is the purpose. So obviously I'm breeding for profit, right? So I set up my first pond. I knew I was breeding for profit. I got the biggest pond I could find, which in that case was 150 gallons. I had been looking for a 300-gallon pond for the backyard for quite some time, and I couldn't find one that was reasonable. They all wanted, you know, twice what new ones cost, and new ones are too expensive for me, about 290 bucks in my area. And to be honest, last year, at the end of last year, I bought a 12-foot Intex pond, pool, you know, with the metal frame. I was going to do a mutt guppy pond in a 12-foot round Intex pool, and decided I didn't want to have that argument with upper management, so that pool's going to be for sale on Marketplace very soon. Anyway, so I set up my 150-gallon stock tank. I made sure it was level. I filled it with water. I put plants in it. I started putting guppies in it. No, I didn't cycle it. I never cycle ponds, and the simple reason, typically the bio load that you're going to put in a pond to start is going to be so small compared to the water volume. You know, if you have a 50-gallon pond and you put 5 guppies in there and it's outside and you have plants, you don't really need to cycle it. Now, if you're new to the hobby, you should definitely learn about the cycle and make your own decision, okay? The disclaimer, know about the cycle. Alright, so after you set up your pond, you kind of level it. I always try to make it level-ish. And then you fill it with water. And I always use, obviously, the hose to fill mine with water. It's one of the things when you're thinking about the location of your pond, is filling it and actually draining it too. You know, if you have a 100-gallon pond and you drain it onto your lawn, is that going to hurt your lawn, or is it too close to your house? Could you flood your house? So you got to think about the location not only of where you want to see it and how you want to look at it, but how you're going to maintain it and how you're going to fill it and empty it. So after we fill it with water, obviously we need to let that water come up to temperature. Now, as I said before, I've used heaters in my pond because there have been some nights where it's been in the 30s. Pond in or outside temperature in the 30s, pond with one 400, one 500 watt heater, always in the 70s. I did have a problem with evaporation for a while, and then a subscriber suggested putting a lid on it, which I did, and that eliminated the evaporation completely. So thank you to that person. After you fill it, I let it get up to temperature. It takes about a day, overnight usually. I put a heater in there, threw some plants in there, and then boom, you put fish in. Now you have to pick your fish. This is going to be another mutt guppy pond, so I'm going to go through the fish room and pick a couple of my imported fish and put them in there and see what we get. So let's do that. Stand by. Alright, fishy folks, I walked around the fish room and I grabbed a couple different specimens for the new mutt guppy tank. Sorry, mutt guppy pond. Gotta come up with a name for the mutt guppy pond. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments below. Mutt Guppy Pond 2, Massive Mutt Guppy Pond 2.0. Let me know what you think in the comments below for the new pond. What are we going to call it? So here's I don't know, hopefully you can see, but we got a couple of different species. Only a few males. I did pick one of the red cobra males with the most jacked up tail I've ever seen for two reasons. One, I would never sell him. I wouldn't even sell him as a mutt. It's so jacked up. And I know it wasn't like that in the beginning when he was born, so it's not genetic. It happened in a fight probably. But I want to be able to identify that fish at the end of the season. Did it survive? Did it change size? You know, how much bigger and more colorful did it get? So let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 fish and 3 males. Let me just double check. Red cobra male, tiger male, 2 males. That's it. The rest are females. There's a red cobra female. There's a couple of yellow snakeskin females. There's a couple of panda tuxedo koi, not panda, tuxedo koi females. I want to see if we can get that orange nose on other fish. I think that would be really cute and cool. There is a blue, there's no name on there, I forgot. It's a metal snakeskin, blue metal snakeskin female, and a blue Moscow female, who isn't very Moscow-ish because only the back half of her is blue. But she has a really nice dorsal. Alright. Let me show you adding the fish to the pond. Refill your stock and beverage if you have to, and stand by. Alright, fishy folks, we're now outside in the backyard. I have my 100-gallon Rubbermaid stock tank set up. I did put some light color tiles on the bottom to help me see the fish. If you know anyone with, who does tile work, you can get some scrap, or you can go to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy some open box stuff cheap. Light color tile on the bottom of the pond will really help you see the bottom and see more of the fish. You can certainly put substrate in if you want. I think that's a waste of time and money, but you can do whatever you want. It's your pond. The other thing in this pond, I've already grabbed some plants from my other pond, some floating plants and some plants for guppies really to thrive in. We have the Java moss, and I forgot what this is called. I know you guys are gonna be like, oh, that's just blah, blah, blah. It's very common. I forgot what it's called. Hornwort maybe? Java moss and the floating things that I can't remember their name because I'm stupid. Anyway, I do have a sponge filter in here. Again, it's just for aeration, although it will help with filtration. And I'm using the Aquarium Co Op Black Airline. I love it. It's rubber. It lasts a long time. It doesn't get hard in the water. and it's just running to an air pump that I have over there. That's a specific outdoor pond air pump. I'll put a link down below. I used it last year. I've used a few different ones. That one so far has been the best because it's lasted and it's designed for outside. And of course there is a heater in here. This heater is the 400 watt heater. The 500 watt heater is still in here. Now I am going to cover it. I'm going to go over how to build the net in a little bit, but I just want to show you where we're at right now. So the other thing is I'm going to show you how I add the guppies. Now I want you guys to please take note. There were 13 guppies. Yes, Indy, 13 guppies. Take it easy. He's so old and cranky. I don't know where he gets it from. Anyway, 13 guppies, 2 males, 11 females. You didn't even see me take my shoes off to count that high. And we're gonna acclimate them into the pond. Done. That's it. No plop and drop here. None of that stuff. They got to be tough. Probably should have checked the temperature first. 78 degrees. So that's perfect. All right, fishy folks. I'm going to figure out my net and then come back. So stand by. All right, fishy folks. I'm done with this net. I used the same technique that I used the first year I had my massive mutt guppy system for making the nets. I wasn't lazy like I usually am. I did use essentially 3 of these ballisters, I think they're called. I don't know, I forget. I did this last year too. The piece of, look, these things. Look, there's Indy. Hi, Indy. It's like 90. Anyway. I used 3 of them, 1 on each side, and then I cut 1 in half and used it for the sides. And actually I did that backwards. I was supposed to use the small ones for the small side, and I don't know why I didn't, which is why I ended up cutting this one so it's not so long. That one I really can't get to cut, so, and plus it's really not in the way. But I used wire ties. I drilled holes in the wood, and I find if you wrap them up like that, it makes it neater and keeps the net a little bit tighter, as well as it's a little bit stronger. So I thought I actually rolled this one a little more than once. I didn't. That one I think is rolled a little bit, but you can see the net is pretty tight. So I mean, you know, if a cat or a frog or something jumps on it, it's probably going to hit the water, but it's high enough off the water that the dragonflies can't drop their butt into the water and deposit nymphs, which is what we're trying to keep out. Mosquitoes and flies and everything else, good. Dragonflies, bad. So that's the net. Well, fishy folks, that does it. Hope you guys liked the video and learned something about how to set up a pond step by step. Any questions, of course, let me know down in the comments below, or email me through my website, michaelsfishroom.com, and I'll be happy to answer them. Have a great day. Alright, fishy folks, I walked around the fish room and I grabbed some different guppies from different tanks, all imports, to add to the massive mutt guppy 100-gallon tank. What are we going to call it? That's silly. Let's come up with a name. I'm not dying. Alright, fishy folks, I went around the fish room and I grabbed a couple of different fish, all imports, for the new massive mutt guppy tank. So here's what we have. We have a blue topaz. No, that's not. Nope. If you're breeding for and I was gonna do a mutt guppy pond in a 12 Jesus Christ.